Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of April 23rd, 2016, and one Cauac or storm in the Mayan Zolkin calendar with Mercury turning retrograde and Venus entering Taurus. April 23rd is one Cauac or storm, and it carries the themes of rain, wind, lightning, giver of life, the cycles of the moon, the feminine, the warmth of the home while inclement weather rages outside, purification, nourishment, compassion, emotions, seeing challenges as blessings, healing through the release of ego, clouds pregnant with rain followed by a flash of lightning and the release of the storm that cleanses the earth to prepare for new consciousness. This 13-day period would be an important time to focus on what's truly important in life and hold loosely to the things that are a distraction to your essence. Allow the waters of the storm Trisena to wash away false pride and rigid thinking to create fertile ground for growth of your integrated and authentic self. And since we're beginning a new Gregorian month during this Trisena, I thought I'd discuss the metaphysics of the upcoming month. May is the 5th month, and with the digits of 2016, when we add them together, we get 14, and then we add the 1 and the 4, and it tells us that we're in a 14-5 month in numerology. Basic numerology reduces numbers to 1 through 9. So when we think about that arc, the 5 represents a time of major shifts and breakthroughs, as the 5 represents the peak of the numerological cycle, such as reaching the top of the mountain and having a view of the upcoming descent down the other side of the 9-month cycle. Jupiter turns direct on the 9th, which brings us opportunities that are a result of our review of how we are of service and how we've been organized over the past 4 months. Mercury turns direct on the 22nd, and that supports the implementation of a new direction based on information and experiences that we were exposed to in April. A 5-month brings new opportunities, options, and choices through our creativity. The 14-5 combination is represented by the art Temperance and Hierophant Tarot cards, which is about the integration of opposites to discover the ground that transcends them both, which we bring forth as teachers who learn from what we share and the experience of those who honor us by implementing our guidance in their lives. This Ken Wilber quote from No Boundaries provides a description of the art Temperance archetype. The point is to unify and harmonize opposites, both positive and negative, by discovering the ground that transcends them both. And from the Course of Miracles, this quote is for the Hierophant. As you teach, so you will learn. If this is true, and it's true indeed, don't forget that what you teach is teaching you. So May represents a breakthrough on many levels, including integrating opposites and learning through teaching. Before we get into the daily energy for one Cauac storm, on the 23rd, all the planets appear to be moving forward from our vantage point on Earth, except for Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, which appear to move in retrograde or in reverse motion. And remember, the themes of retrograde planets are to review the past, reevaluate, reminisce. And we can see these themes being played out. Mars represents drive and aggression, and in Sagittarius, it's currently in Sagittarius. Mars will retrograde back into Scorpio, the sign of its traditional rulership, on May 27th. A retrograde Mars in Sagittarius has us reviewing our drives related to our beliefs, and in Scorpio, the ethics of our actions are reviewed. Retrograde Mars can cause frustration as our energy to get things done is retarded, which can lead to irritability and aggression. Jupiter was the king of the gods, and the planet is about good fortune, opportunities, faith, religion, beliefs, and expansion. Jupiter is in Virgo, and Virgo is about organization, health, and service. Mostly what I find with Jupiter retrograde, as with any retrograde cycle, there's a review of the past, and with Jupiter, what gets reviewed are missed opportunities. Retrograde Saturn in Sagittarius delays success until perseverance and patience are learned. Sagittarius themes of travel, education, adventure, expanding our horizons, and planning for upcoming experiences. Saturn brings the details to the grand overview of Sagittarius. Saturn retrograde is a taskmaster that demands we take responsibility to review our beliefs while in Sagittarius. And Pluto, the planet of transformation through death and rebirth cycle, is retrograde, which is about reviewing the past. So this is a time of releasing anything from the past that is a burden to our new path. Pluto represents death and completion, and in Capricorn, this is a breakdown of structures to bring about transformation. But the really big change during the one storm Trecena is Mercury changing directions as it moves retrograde on the 28th and then direct on May 22nd. So the end of the month would be a good time to avoid signing contracts and other legal papers, or making any major purchases, or even taking a new job. If you could postpone these types of activities, the terms will be much clearer after Mercury is moving direct. That may seem impossible, so if you can avoid these activities a few days before and after Mercury changing direction on the 28th and May 22nd, when the planet is at its most potent, that would be beneficial. Mercury retrogrades force us to slow down and pay more attention to our lives by making us focus on the details of our daily experience. And when we look at the retrograde cycle of any of the personal or inner planets, it provides information about a course, a correction to our present course. And during this report period, we have Mercury moving through the first stage, which basically the first stage of the retrograde process began on the 14th. And really, there's two important points to be aware of in looking at the cycle. There's the point where the planet appears to be moving retrograde or in reverse motion from our perspective here on the Earth, and the point where it begins to move direct and forward from our perspective here on the Earth. Okay, so the first stage represents the shadow time between passing 14 degrees Taurus and to the point where it will eventually, that's the point where it'll eventually begin moving forward again, and the point where the planet stops and begins to move in reverse, which is at 23 degrees of Taurus. So during the first stage, we receive information about needing to adjust our direction. The second stage is the actual retrograde phase, and it's the time where we experience events that occur related to the information that we received during the first stage. And then the third stage begins when the planet is moving forward again until it crosses the line where it had originally turned retrograde. During the third stage, we move forward with a revision to our previous course. So we entered the first stage for Mercury on April 14th. So from then until the 28th, we are receiving information about an adjustment that needs to be made in our lives. Then Mercury is retrograde from April 28th at 23 degrees of Taurus until May 22nd at 14 degrees of Taurus, which will be the time when we notice experiences and events that shift our thinking. And then from May 22nd to June 8th, we're in the third stage where we implement this change in direction from our awareness gained through the experience of this process. And if you look at the house of your astrology chart that contains 14 to 23 degrees of Taurus, you can find the theme of where you're going to experience revisions, reviews, and rethinking of characteristics represented by that house. For me, this is the 12th house of secrets, sorrows, and self-undoing, the house of karma. So I'd expect this cycle to provide new information about completions to prepare for new beginnings. No matter where Mercury retrogrades in your chart, this is often leads to a changing choices, goals, and directions. In the world, look for themes of completion through intellectual review of the past, particularly related to communications about topics like dependability, security, wealth, love, stubbornness, patience, and being practical while Mercury is moving through Taurus. In Taurus, Mercury slows down communications and stabilizes thinking to be more practical and constructive. And all the remaining Mercury retrogrades for 2016 will be in Earth signs. We currently have Taurus, the next one will be in Virgo, and then finally at the end of the year, Capricorn. So at the end of April, Mercury slows down and turns retrograde at 23 degrees Taurus on the 28th. And when a planet slows down from our perspective here on the Earth, the planet is considered to be at the peak of its power. And Mercury being at the peak of its power reminds me that the Greek god Hermes, who the Romans renamed to Mercury, was the trickster god. He was the messenger of the gods. And if you weren't on his good side, you might not get the message. Or it might be altered to mean something different than what was intended. In mythology, the trickster is a god, goddess, woman, man, animal, or spirit that creates mischief by playing tricks and acting outside the acceptable rules of their community. Joseph Campbell expressed that almost all non-literate mythology has a trickster hero of some kind. And there's a special property in the trickster. He always breaks in, just as the unconscious does, to trip up the rational situation. He's both a fool and someone who's beyond the system. And the trickster represents all these possibilities of life that your mind hasn't decided that it wants to deal with. The mind has structures. The mind structures a lifestyle, and the fool or trickster represents another whole range of possibilities. He doesn't respect the values that you set up for yourself and smashes them. The fool is the breakthrough of the absolute into the field of controlled social orders. And that's a great description of Mercury retrograde. It also contains a formula for confronting a more powerful foe by being cunning over fighting on their terms. So we're going to look at the daily vibrational energy of the Trisena now. And on April 23rd, again, it's one Cauac or storm unity experience through recognizing the gifts in adversity in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar activity in these reports other than new and full moons, but that information is available on the New World Birth daily Facebook post and also on the blogger New World Birth blog. April 24th is to a Hal or Sun duality experience through honoring the wisdom and memory of our ancestors. The 25th is 3 Amish or crocodile, taking action through nurturing new beginnings in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. The 26th is 4 Eek or wind, stability through communications. April 27th is 5 Akbal or night in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, which is about empowerment through contemplating the stars. The 28th is a 6 Khan or seed or lizard, which is about being in the flow through planting seeds and making new connections. And this is the point where Mercury turns retrograde again at 23 degrees of Taurus. Even folks that don't follow astrology are aware of Mercury's retrograde's effect on communication, technology, and travel. This begins a time that shifts our review of information below the surface with a focus on Mercury and Taurus, slowing down communication, stabilizing thinking to be more practical and constructive. From the 28th until May 22nd would be a good time to avoid signing contracts or other legal papers and making any major purchases or even taking a new job. Again, if you can postpone those types of activities, the terms will be clearer after Mercury's moving direct. The retrograde cycle provides information about course correction to our cosmic course. In the context of this retrograde cycle, I think Mercury is retracing the steps back in Taurus to gather information that will be needed to support the tasks and projects that move forward during the peak numerological 5-month of May when Mercury turns direct. April 29th is 7 Chan or Serpent, reflection through being flexible in the Mayan Old King calendar. The 30th is 8 Kimi or transformation, which is balanced through releasing what no longer serves us. And at this point, we have Venus entering into Taurus. Which is very beneficial because Taurus is more affectionate and sensual than Aries, and is one of the signs that Venus rules. Being an earth sign, there is a realization about the damage a bad relationship can do. So there is also a caution about entering into love too quickly. It could be a passionate energy that wants to please the significant other or lover. This is about enjoying the arts and music, along with fine food that nourishes the body and soul over the next 3+ weeks. The shift of Venus from Aries to Taurus favors comfort and soothing, calm social interactions. May 1st is 9 Manique or deer, patience experienced through being of service to others. And at this point, we have the Sun in a sextile to Neptune. So from our perspective here on the Earth, the Sun is forming a 60-degree angle with Neptune, which lowers the demands of our egos and allows us to sense other people's energy and circumstances and makes us more willing to help out. This could be positive for fundraising for a charitable organization. It also encourages spiritual and mystical knowledge and experiences through spending time alone in a meditative state, particularly given that the energy for physical activities is lowered when the Sun interacts with Neptune. The second is 10 Lammat, or star, or rabbit, or Venus, which is about manifestation through being grateful for abundant experiences. And at this point, we have Mercury in a sextile to Chiron, which brings understanding to communications about our healing process. May 3rd is 11 Maluk, or offering, resolution through appreciating creation, while the Sun is in a trine to Jupiter. So from our perspective here on the Earth, the Sun is forming a 120-degree angle with Jupiter, which is one of the most positive transits, bringing enthusiasm and optimism. It can have an effect of people feeling lazy, but I encourage folks to use this energy to accomplish something good for yourself. This is a day to project positive energy into the environment that can have some influence on your affairs and accomplishing something you desire. Some will see this as just dumb luck, but this transit really has its roots in something that was done over the recent past, and this is good energy for making changes in your life without feeling a sense of loss. This is also good for studying something of interest to you, particularly subjects that help us see the world as a whole. The 4th is 12 Auk, or dog, understanding through enjoying family and friends. And then May 5th is 13 Shuin, or monkey, movement to the next stage through creating something new in the Mayan Old King calendar. So no matter what energies are affecting you during the one storm Trecena, take some time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or being with somebody you love in a conscious way. Every day is a blessing, no matter what dramas beckon to distract us. And I believe we're all here giving the performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe your play as well as act your part. Remember, you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the care and feeding of a new world age will be on May 6th. For one ebb or road with the Taurus new moon and Jupiter turning direct. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and the Mayan Magics website. I encourage you to share this information as videos or text as widely as you choose. And as always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. I am providing readings and wish to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I've created 3 different options with 3 different levels of compensation. If you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And again, contacting me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com is the way to get instructions on how to make a donation. Or, as I've said before, getting a reading is a great way to support us here and also get something of value for yourself. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and great gratitude, and look forward to connecting with you in the future. All my best to everybody.